Right now, if you want a flagship AI, you are paying exactly $20 a month. Claude 4.7, Gemini 3.1 Pro, and GPT 5.5 have all converged on a strictly identical price point. That price parity makes it easy to assume the models are the same, since their intelligence scores are neck and neck. In 2026, the three leaders converge into a tight cluster, separated by a margin of less than 3%. Since headline benchmarks are essentially tied, we have to look past raw intelligence. We are actually comparing architectural failure modes across different specialized tasks. These models are built differently. An architecture that works perfectly for code might create significant bottlenecks for long-form research, regardless of its overall score. Navigating this landscape requires us to ignore the marketing and stress test these models to find exactly where they break. For Claude 4.7, Anthropic prioritized epistemic honesty. The model operates through a native self-verification loop. Claude often pauses to check its own reasoning. It identifies logic errors and revises the answer before you ever see a single word. Google's Gemini 3.1 Pro takes a different path, prioritizing high-volume data ingestion. It trades that extreme caution for the ability to absorb text, video, audio, and code into an expansive 2 million token core. OpenAI moved in a third direction with GPT 5.5. This isn't a better chatbot. It's an architecture built for agentic autonomy, designed to hold its state across complex, multi-step tasks. At $20 a month, you are forced to choose between precision, scale, or autonomy. You cannot have all three in one package. For high-stakes work like legal documents, compliance reports, or production code, the cost of an error can be staggering. This chart tracks long-form factual accuracy. GPT 5.5 has an 86% hallucination rate here, while Claude stays down at 36%. That high error rate makes GPT 5.5% a liability for researchers, even if its prose sounds confident. Claude 4.7's self-verification solves this. It leads the SWE bench coding benchmark at 64.3% and is far more likely to admit when it simply doesn't have the information. But precision has a price. Claude's tokenizer burns through token allowances up to 35% faster than competitors, causing heavy users to hit their 5-hour usage limit sooner. Claude is the mandatory choice for writers and developers, but its strict usage caps demand rationing. Not every job needs a surgical check. Some demand high-volume analysis of entire codebases or hours of recorded video. Gemini 3.1 Pro's 2 million token window allows you to process large document sets in a single prompt without having to chop the data into pieces. Its ultimate advantage is the lack of friction. If your workflow is in Google Workspace, Gemini works where your data lives, eliminating the need to copy and paste. However, that integration comes with a catch. Gemini's privacy defaults mean your chats might be reviewed by humans unless you manually opt out. Gemini is the winner for frictionless scale, provided you are comfortable managing your own data privacy. We are seeing a widespread shift toward background agents, tools that can execute multi-step processes on their own without constant human oversight. Claude and Gemini struggle here because their architectures are built to be careful assistants rather than execution engines. This scatterplot shows how OpenAI optimized for work. GPT 5.5 isolates in the upper left agentic quadrant, leading the terminal bench for autonomous execution. GPT 5.5 uses its wide-reaching plugin ecosystem to make tool calls and move files seamlessly. If you need to build automated workflows rather than consult with a thought partner, GPT 5.5 is the only viable engine. When we look at the hidden economics of the API layer, the tie at the $20 consumer tier disappears. Gemini 3.1 Pro offers the cheapest frontier API at just $2 per million input tokens, making it the most affordable option for scaling. OpenAI charges a premium. GPT 5.5 costs $5 per million input tokens and $30 for every million it outputs. But there is one outlier if you need to process bulk text at the absolute lowest cost. Musk's Grok platform undercuts the entire market, charging a mere 20 cents per million input tokens. These back-end variations show that while consumer prices are identical, the cost of deploying AI at scale remains a massive competitive variable. This creates a dilemma. If you commit to a single enterprise license, you will eventually bottleneck a large portion of your workforce. The emerging consensus is a hybrid strategy. Instead of choosing one, power users pay $60 a month to stack all 3 tools and cover every quadrant. Route your writers and developers to Claude Pro to avoid hallucinations in code and client documents. Researchers and Google Workspace users move to Gemini Pro for large document analysis and native integration, and default to ChatGPT Plus for multi-step automations, provided you fact-check the final output. This strategy requires more management and training, but it's the only way to get the best from every architecture. Staying productive in 2026 requires abandoning brand loyalty to route every specific task to the uniquely architected engine that handles it best.